I was in India from July 14th to July 30th, 2018. This episode is called Mumbai, not because I recorded it in Mumbai, because I recorded it in Burbank, California, about 2 months later when I was done traveling. That's because I realized too late that I didn't record enough stuff about India. Yeah, I fucked up. Anyway, the episode is still called Mumbai just to keep with the episode naming convention. I wasn't going to call the episode Burbank, that would be stupid. Anyway, joining me in Burbank is my pal Dave. Dave has done a lot of traveling himself, so he was a good guy to talk to about this stuff. This is it. This is Bad Travel Podcast, Burbank edition. I mean, India. India edition. There you go.
এই মৌসুমে তুমি আর আমি শুধু দুজনে জানা জানা দুনিয়ায় এই মৌসুমে তুমি আর আমি শুধু দুজনে জানা জানা দুনিয়ায় এই মৌসুমে তুমি আর আমি শুধু দুজনে জানা অজানা দুনিয়ায় এই মৌসুমে তুমি আর আমি শুধু দুজনে জানা অজানা দুনিয়ায় তোমার আমার প্রেমের সুরে
No.
This is great. I'm having a great time.
I mean, I actually haven't done this for quite a while, so
Done like the setup or
the
recording a
setup,
thing?
recording, fucking none of it. I'm way out of it. I don't even know how to be funny.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to help you there.
You just sit there and look pretty.
Well, unfortunately, this is audio only, so I'm not going to help too
I
much.
know, but if I describe you as looking pretty, it'll
All
work.
right.
So we were just talking about drinking tap water.
I'm for it. Drink
You're
it
for
no matter
it.
where you are.
No, you're not.
Yeah, any place you are.
You said you didn't
it.
drink it in Baltimore.
No, I said it was the wrong color. I didn't say anything about whether or not
Did
I
you really
it.
drink it if it was brown?
I would drink it right out of the toilet if I had to.
Okay.
You know, even if I didn't
well,
have to.
maybe someday you'll have to.
There's no difference between tap water and water out of the toilet.
In a survival scenario, like you're going to be the one that makes it out, probably.
Yeah, I think that's very likely. Also, I would totally become one of those guys that like trades things, a slaver, basically. I would trade people, and then I would look around for like scrap metal. And then when the roving bands came, I would just be like, "Hey, I got scrap metal for sale."
This has taught me everything I need to know about a person who would drink toilet water.
Yeah,
Because they're a survivor and they're strong,
yeah,
and they'll do what it takes.
yeah, exactly. You
I
gotta
was
be
I
mentally
was
strong.
sitting. I was about to fucking ridicule you, but I see now that one day you might own me, and I want to be nice to you.
Yeah, maybe for a day. You know, it depends how quickly I can get
You're
rid
a
of
high
you.
frequency trader of people.
I mean, when something's in demand, you gotta provide the supply. That's just economics.
Whenever people say they don't drink tap water in Los Angeles, I guess like I always think it's sort of an affectation.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's like a rich people thing.
There's that thing where like tap water in different places in America. Well, I guess let's ignore like the crisis in Flint, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But like in other places, it's perfectly like potable, which I only know from that one SNL skit.
Oh, I only know it from the bathroom in the airplane. They use the word potable.
Good word,
Yeah,
not pronounced potable.
I mean it could be. Have you ever heard someone say? I guess you have. You
I have to go to the
SNL.
potty.
That's where it comes from.
Same root word.
Yeah,
Comes from potty.
yeah.
Okay. But like different places, it's like it's drinkable, but it has like a weird flavor or whatever.
Yeah, it's got different stuff in it. I used to live in Pasadena, outside of Los Angeles, and so one of the first things I do when I move to a new place is I look up whether or not you can drink the tap water, because I've lived places in the past, despite my previous claims, where you probably should not drink the tap water. And so I looked up Pasadena, and because the Jet Propulsion Laboratories is there, there's like, I don't know, like 60 times the average amount of jet fuel in the water, but it's still
How the
under
fuck
the.
does that? How does that happen?
Just like they store jet fuel someplace and it leaks and it goes into the ground and then it goes into the groundwater.
I guess even if like a little bit leaks, that's enough for it to be
Yeah.
dozens of times more than
Yeah, so you
the
can still
jet
drink
fuel
the
you're
tap
gonna get
water.
like in Rolla, Missouri, or whatever.
You both can drink the tap water, and I did drink the tap water in Pasadena. But
Just with the knowledge that there's jet fuel passing through you.
I mean, it probably gets absorbed, right? And then it like causes mutations, and then I can't breathe anymore.
Here's what I know about jet fuel: it can't melt steel beams, and so I question whether or not it could have any ill effects on the human.
I think that sounds like science to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I saw that in a science film called Zeitgeist.
Okay, well, I do care about the spirit of the times, so I'm interested to learn more.
Yeah, when I was traveling, I was always Googling, can I drink water here? Or actually, let me take that back. At first, I was Googling, can I drink water here? And then eventually I was like, I'm never going to Google this again because every country I Googled it for, like at least in Southeast Asia and stuff, is like, no,
Yeah.
you can't.
I've had that even when I've gone to Cancun. Everyone tells you don't drink the water. And
Oh,
so
really?
I'll go there with people and they'll all be like, oh, I'm not going to drink the water. Also, like, don't buy a water bottle unless you see that it's still sealed because they might replace the very valuable water that was in there.
Right.
With like, but then the thing is that Cancun is like a place you go to drink. It's like Vegas or something. I mean, also people live there and have their own lives, but the reason I'm there is to go drink. And they order a drink and there's ice in the drink.
Right.
So they don't drink the water, but ice, and you're like,
The ice
rum
is
and Coke
definitely
is
made
fine.
from just tap water.
They're not making special ice for the tourists. If you can't even trust bottled water, you're going to trust the ice?
It's weird. People have like blind spots about that stuff. But I mean, I also avoided ice whenever like, and when I was in India, when people would, whenever you eat a meal, they bring you water, like in a tin cup or whatever.
Sweet. Yeah, that's like a Moscow Mule, but it's water.
I don't drink it. I mean, it's not even like,
What about you ever dip your fingers in it to like clean them?
oh yeah, I love doing that actually.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
after a meal in India, they bring the little warm bowl
Yeah.
of water and like a lemon, and you use the lemon to clean your fingers because you've been eating with your hands,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you dip it in the Oh my god.
The-
I wish
the-
every restaurant did that, and
the
I would
s-
be eating with my hands way more often.
The citrus after you eat, like the lemon, is big when I lived in Maryland because of all the like crab eating, and your hands get not only covered with like crustacean juice, but also the flavoring that they put on it, and you like cut up your hands during it. So it's just like a mix of like blood and the ocean and like weird spices. And then
I like crab, but that's what I always hated about eating it.
bleeding.
Yeah, fucking bleeding
Yeah,
and
yeah.
being in pain.
I mean, it makes you feel like you did something.
Yeah, that's true. I do like a little bit of struggle for my food.
And then
I
the
think
best
that's kind of
part,
why I like Korean
They give you a little
barbecue.
lemon after, and then you can feel the citrus sting on all your wounds.
Is that what the lemon is for? Is to clean your hand?
It's to make it smell better.
To make your hand smell better?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been out east. I haven't been like east of Ohio, so I'm really fucking up doing a podcast about traveling. I've only been to like 5 cities or something in
Yeah,
the US.
there's things there. You could go to them. They'll be there. Most of it will be there for
A while.
most of our lifetime.
Most of our lifetimes.
Yeah, I mean, parts of Miami will be gone, and
The crabs aren't going to be around forever. Let's be honest.
I mean, they can just farm them. That's fine. You can always eat crabs.
Farm crabs.
Yeah, just get some of them farm crabs. They wear little straw hats and everything.
Corncob pipes,
Yeah,
etc.
wake up early, yell at their kids.
But brand loyalty sparks up really quick. Like I would always, whenever I would like start drinking water in a new place, I would always like have a specific brand of water that I kept returning to for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But that's the safety like thing in your brain, right? That's why you won't drink tap water when you go to different cities. It's just like I need safety, and
think-
brands are part of that.
Yeah, brand loyalty is not just a traveling thing. People are like that where they just like go for the thing they know that they like anyway.
No, that's what I'm trying to connect it to very tenuously is like not wanting to shit your pants in a country where the drinking water is questionable is the same as like preferring Wendy's to McDonald's.
Right, yeah. You don't want to have a bad McDonald's experience
Or-
because you went outside your norms.
Or buying a weapon to protect your family in your home. That will definitely, probably your stepson will use it on himself by accident.
That's why I buy a large steel pipe so that even if my stepson uses it, it'll be okay.
It won't hurt him too bad.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He just maybe leg goes the wrong direction.
Just a wiffle bat, It'll scare the intruder, won't hurt anybody. You all have a good laugh afterwards.
I would say the scarier part of wiffle ball is the ball itself, that little whistle it makes. That could be a missile, You don't know. You would leave the house.
See, I never actually played wiffle ball, but I well acquainted with wiffle bats for some reason. I always had like 4 of them in my room. I think I found them.
Yeah, well,
I think maybe I stole them from other kids' yards.
I mean, someone had the wiffle ball comes with the wiffle bat.
I understand, but I feel like, you buy the wiffle bat and then you use it on other things. Wailing on your cousin, hitting the bed.
Yeah, well, the most common thing is you get the wiffle ball that comes with the wiffle bat, and you use the wiffle bat to hit the wiffle ball like into the woods, and you never see it again.
That also sounds like a good time. I guess I could get into that as an adult. There's nothing stopping me.
Well, one of my favorite things is if you have a spare quarter, there's little machines that give out toys, and you can get a bouncy ball. And I would say about 100% of the time, I lose that ball within minutes. Like it rolls under something or it goes into the street. It's just like I could have just thrown a quarter into the street and it would have been the same thing.
I have thrown quarters into the street.
Not
Recently, but when I was a kid, I would throw quarters at cars.
Is this real? You used to really do that?
It's not good. I was a piece of shit, for sure.
was.
I've transformed, it's like sublimation. I was a piece of shit. I'm still a piece of shit, but in different transformative ways.
Okay.
All my piece of shit projects are long form piece of shit projects. Instead of throwing a quarter into the road, now I have a podcast.
Were there any like negative repercussions for throwing quarters into the road? Like did it ever?
Yeah, you throw a quarter at a car, the car screeches to a halt. And a big man gets out and screams down the road while you and your friends run and hide in bushes.
Okay, that doesn't sound so bad.
It's not so bad. I mean, it's a wonder none of them, reach down to the bushes and beat the shit out of us.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not going to say kids deserve to get their ass beat as a general rule, but maybe me in particular.
Some kids are bad.
Maybe at least one kid. I don't want to extend this too far because I feel like people might get upset if they think that I'm saying some kids deserve violence.
None of the listeners' kids.
No, certainly not. But like a hypothetical super piece of shit kid who will only learn by violence.
The kid from The Omen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You had to kill that kid.
Or this isn't technically a kid, but like Chucky, for example.
I mean, he's little, so
he's little.
Technically, he is a kid because he's little.
Technically,
yeah.
Right? What was I? I had a point. I guess I didn't have a point. What were we talking about?
I don't know. Didn't you go to India recently?
Aha! There we go. Yeah. So we're supposed to be talking about India somewhat. I went to India.
Big country.
Big country. I only went to 5 cities. I went to Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and Jaipur.
Okay, what is the entire history and culture of each of them?
I'm glad you asked. I have this book right here, and I will be reading it for the next hour and a half. I actually should know a bit more about the history of India than I presently do. But like every place I visited, I would go on these like historical walking tours.
Yeah.
In the moment, I felt like I was really learning something and connecting to it, and that's why I did it over and over again, because every time it felt like I was connecting a little bit, learning, a nice experience. But now looking back on it, the travel ended a month ago or something, a month and a half. I can say for sure, I have not retained any of that shit, like basically at all. I think I remember like 2 historical things from my whole trip. One of them is that like in Prague there is a statue of a dog. The locals told tourists was good luck, and so the tourists would rub it, and so the statue of a dog is very shiny, but it actually doesn't mean anything.
Okay, fair.
It was like a prank on tourists.
Have you seen the movie White God?
No.
It's a movie set in Prague, unless I'm wrong, in which case ignore everything I'm about to say. And It's basically the theme of the movie is what if the dogs turn on us? And it starts with one dog who's their leader by the end, but it's one dog, and humans for the most part mistreat him. And so at the beginning, you like develop a lot of sympathy for the dog, and then he starts getting like friends, and they start taking out like a few humans that have been cruel
The
to.
particularly nasty humans.
Yeah.
So you're rooting for them at first.
Yeah,
Like, this needs to happen.
and then by the end, they've taken over the entire city. So I wonder if it's that dog.
Could be.
Yeah, that could be their leader.
It would make sense to make a statue to the dog that enslaved humans.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that he would demand it. It would be hard to figure out what he was asking.
But I do think he would need to leave a few human. Like, he couldn't. This wouldn't be a complete genocide, right? You would have to have a couple of humans around to make the statues of the dogs.
I still think that counts as a genocide, even if you leave a couple.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess you're right.
Yeah. You don't really have to.
No,
get rid of,
you're right. Yeah.
You don't really have to get rid of that many before it becomes a genocide.
As long as you're citing a certain geno, then it's a genocide. But it doesn't have to be a complete side.
Yeah, well, you could do a bad genocide. Like, you're just bad at it. You're just messing it all up and fumbling everything, and they all get away. But
So some kind of shitty genocide where you just make everyone uncomfortable.
yeah. You went to 5 places in India. I've already forgotten them.
That's
what
cool.
about, like...
Do you want me to say them again? Probably
No,
not.
absolutely
You'll
not.
forget them again.
Which one did you go to first?
Bangalore.
Okay, what's that place like?
Bangalore is called the high-tech hub
Okay,
of India, along with one other city.
so they're insufferable.
No, dude, you don't feel like, oh, this is the high-tech hub of India. So it's not like Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Even though, like, I think maybe, like, numbers-wise, it probably has as many tech companies or as much.
Right.
There's a lot of money coming into it or going out of it or something. But it's not like, hey, oh, I'm in a tech city. I'm in San Francisco. You don't feel that vibe at all.
Is it because it's bigger than that, so there's room for additional things?
I think what it is that it's India. So I'm just not sensitive. You know, I was just experiencing it as this is India. I wasn't experiencing it as like, I'm in a tech city.
Maybe tech guys are cool in India.
I think they might be.
Maybe it's the opposite of here.
I think it might be they're just better
Yeah.
as tech guys. Whereas here, there's a whole lot of like things that come with being a tech guy.
Yeah, you have to be a fascist.
You've got to signal that you're a tech guy
Yeah.
by being a fascist.
Yeah.
By like supporting supervillains and shit.
Yeah.
And also just like, I don't know, like you can tell when you're in a tech city, right? Because they have like a Google bus or something. Is that right?
Yeah, but that's just like the bus to work. Like
I
bad
know,
jobs
but I
have a
but I
bus
mean,
to work.
what I mean is,
If you work in a prison, there's a bus for the prison parking lot.
but
to the
I'm saying you see tech companies like branding, or even when I was in Seattle, I saw like these big domes, the Amazon domes, where all the tech guys, I don't know, hang out. I think inside there's like there's a lawn, and people can go inside these domes in the middle of the
going
city.
inside to see the outside.
Yeah, and you can sit on the lawn and think about engineering problems. And you have to be wearing your Amazon lanyard or they won't let you inside. So you go inside, you're wearing your quarter zip fleece and your lanyard, and you sit cross-legged and think about design. But what I'm saying is I didn't see that kind of shit in Bangalore. Or in Hyderabad, which is also like supposed to be the other big tech city. In fact, they have like a name. It's sometimes called Cyberabad.
Okay, I got it.
Which is very cool to me. And when I was going there, I was like kind of hoping I would see like some kind of weird cyberpunk. I don't know what the fuck I was expecting. Floating cars?
Yeah, like Blade Runner.
Yeah, I wanted it to be Blade Runner because it had a cool name, but it wasn't.
So, okay, so we have these two tech hubs. How far away are these two places from each other?
Bangalore's more in the south.
Okay.
Hyderabad's more like in the middle.
Okay.
And between those two, I went to this place, Chennai, which is on the East Coast. So it's like on the ocean.
I know less about the East Coast of India than the West Coast.
What do you know about the West Coast?
I know like the interaction with white people. So trade came first to the West Coast, to
Right.
the West Coast, yeah, of India. So before that, there'd long been trade, even going back to like Roman times. But Africa and India had trade already ongoing there, and the Middle East had trade, and then white people came and started trying to convert people. So you get like the introduction of Christianity coming in through sort of the southwestern section of India.
Oh yeah, they probably did that thing right where some missionaries come and they try to convert the local population
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
long
yeah.
time, and then
Yeah,
eventually
my friend's
someone
from
beats the
there,
shit
and
out of
she's
them.
Christian, so
Oh really?
yeah, so it worked.
I was gonna say there's this thing where like I won't say this specifically happened in India because I don't know if it has, but
Definitely
there
happened
is
there.
there is a thing where like missionaries go to a country, they try to convert the local people get fed up with their bullshit and like burn their church or do something. And then like back home they're like, "Did you hear they're burning down churches?" And then they invade.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
that's a classic move.
it's usually easier to convert people if it's beneficial to convert. You know, if you just go up and be like, "Hey, I got like this different belief," most people aren't really gonna care.
Yeah,
They're gonna be like, "Oh, good for you, I guess." I
right.
don't know.
It's not that interesting.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. You got a big book. I love reading gigantic books that tell me what to do.
The other day when I was walking like in East Hollywood and the Scientology guys came up to me, it's like maybe I would convert if you had a sword and were threatening to chop off my head.
Yeah. Or even.
But right now you just want to give me a personality test. I already took those, and it's just which am I, Rachel or Monica?
Bad was the one that you got.
0 personality out of 10.
But I think Scientology works a bit because there's that promise of a fuller career if you're a member of Scientology, because it's like a networking thing as well. So that's like a incentive to convert.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, they make you convert in Scientology. Can you still be another thing while you're a Scientologist?
I think they say you can like be another thing, but then you get to like level 7B or whatever the fuck, and they're like, surprise, Thetans and shit. You cannot be a Christian. This shit is not in your Bible.
But you could be like a chill Christian, but like a strict Scientologist.
I think it would have to be that. I don't think you can be a strict Christian and a chill Scientologist.
I guess it would depend what like the early levels of Scientology are, whether or not that's like in conflict with your ultra Christian beliefs.
I do know there's like a very small group of like free Scientologists, like a breakaway, the Protestants of Scientologists. And their whole thing is like, we're going to give away all the books for free, and you can come when you want, and
Wait,
all this
I
stuff.
thought the books were already free, aren't they? Isn't that what the guys in Hollywood are trying to do? Get you to take a book?
Like Dianetics is free, but if you want to get like the coursework books, they're like hundreds of dollars.
Like Dianetics 2, you have to pay
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
That's how they get you with the first one.
Yeah, this one's really gonna blow your pants off. But the breakaway Scientology group, I believe, is very unsuccessful.
Yeah, well,
because it doesn't have all those cult mechanisms to like pull people in.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Instead, it's just one religion among millions.
Yeah, I just want someone who's going to make me feel like maybe I'll get a job, and then I'll feel beholden to them for everything that happens in my life, and then I'll cut out everyone else. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, you'll have all new friends, so it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
By the time you are ready to cut out everybody, you'll be like, great, I have twice as many friends as before anyway. Fuck it.
I mean, I've moved around a lot in my life, and I've had new groups of friends. It's okay. I don't need to get rid of the old ones to find new ones. It's like.
But if you have to.
Yeah, if you have to, it's also it's the same thing with like surviving the end of the world. It's like you make new friends.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you gotta befriend the people that are alive, probably.
Yeah. Well, if you're befriending the people who are dead, then you're not in a good place.
So you take Uber.
In general. I actually only take Lyft.
Really? Oh yeah. Is it more ethical?
I believe it is more ethical, but also I need to update my credit card in the Uber app, and I can't figure out how. So I just take
it is. It's laziness.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm taking Lyft/Uber in the first place, because I'm too lazy to navigate public transport.
Right. Too lazy to walk 15 miles across town.
Yeah, you could do it if you wanted to.
You could hitchhike. You could ride a bike.
If it's longer than that, you can bring your camping gear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Or, I mean, don't need to bring your camping gear. Don't sleep. Sleep is also a laziness.
Well, I mean, what about passing out? Is that lazy?
No, that's admirable.
Okay.
That should be the only way you ever get rest is passing out.
Okay. I can, as long as I'm still allowed to pass out, I can. I don't want to descend into sleepless madness.
A mania?
Yeah, I don't need that in my life.
I've been toying with the idea recently of inducing mania in myself via sleeplessness.
Okay.
Like if I like because right now I just have a weekend job. I'm looking for a weekday job, but basically, Monday to Thursday I'm free.
So why not just go insane?
Dude, yeah. A Monday, wake up, eat a nice breakfast, stay up for 4 days. It's part 2 of that.
I mean, you got to fill in all that time.
That's the
gotta find
thing is
stuff
I
to
don't have a
do.
whole lot to do.
Yeah.
And what I came up with this because I was like kind of bored. I was like I need to do a project or something fun. And it's like maybe having some sleeplessness induced mania would be kind of fun.
Oh man, you're taking your problem and you're making more of it because your problem is too much time,
Yeah.
and your solution is to make additional time.
You're right, but I'm still
But
not convinced.
I think you should do it anyway and
I
see
should
whether or not
maybe
you
try
enjoy
it
the
out.
experience.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since like I stayed up so long that I started having like the flicking shadows at the corner of my
Yeah.
vision,
Yeah.
audio hallucinations, things like that.
Oh man, I worked on a film set one summer. Not the best working conditions, so I was working 12 to 16 hours each day, and then I would still go out drinking at night. And so I was getting
You gotta
about
unwind.
a half hour of sleep for a month. And I was
Fuck.
losing it some of those days. I did get one day off a week, so I could catch up a little bit, but
Just sleep
definitely
like
like
15 hours that day.
hallucinations and like not being able to concentrate and all that stuff.
What were you doing on set?
I was just a production assistant, so I was doing almost
shit.
nothing.
Just sitting around
Yeah.
or grunt work.
I was hanging out and talking to people until someone yelled at me and told me you're not supposed to hang out. You're supposed to hang out while not talking to people.
Look more productive.
Yeah, you're supposed to look like you're doing.
Yeah.
You're supposed to look like you're waiting to do something.
Guard this sidewalk in place in case somebody walks down it or something.
Yeah, I really liked guarding stuff actually because you could read a book during it, so that was pretty good.
Have a clipboard.
No, we didn't have to.
Oh, you weren't high level enough to have a clipboard.
No, I had a walkie-talkie though.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, if you walk up to someone and you have a walkie-talkie and you tell them what to do, most of the time they'll do it.
And if they don't, you just say in the walkie-talkie, you say he's not doing it, and then that like they might do it after that.
Yeah. Well, I would always try to go with the ask route rather than the tell route. So I'd be like, "Hey, we're filming a movie. Would you mind like not talking for the like next 5 hours?" And people respected it because I looked like I was embarrassed to be asking.
And you were, right? Or did you fake that? Was that part of your acting?
I wouldn't say that I was embarrassed to be acting. I would say I didn't care whether or not they listened to me.
It's like anything bad would happen to you. You asked.
Yeah, I did everything I can. I can't force them to be quiet. Not yet. Anyway, I'm sure at some point
it's good
the
to
laws
be
will
that
change.
that low on the totem pole where like the end product has nothing to do with me. That's like a kind of like blissful alienation.
Yeah, I did see the movie at its film festival premiere, and so like to that extent, I was responsible for the end product because I had to sit there and watch it, which was unfortunate because it was not good.
But you can divorce yourself from that.
Yeah.
It's not like it wasn't good because of something you did, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I definitely, if anything, I made it easier for them to make garbage.
Oh, you facilitated it.
Yeah, so.
But you were being paid or something.
Yeah, I was being paid.
Okay, so not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Production assistant actually doesn't pay too poorly, even on like a bad set like that. It was just not working conditions that should be legal. And there was like other stuff like the film sets are not well regulated. So there was like physical abuse from higher ups against people lower, a lot of sexual harassment. It's just like not a good environment.
People were slapping people around?
Yeah, someone threw a chair just because they were angry that like
High
they were
stress
behind on
environment.
time or something.
Do you think people are stressed out because they're really worried about the end result, or are they stressed out because they are working 16 hours a day, or there's so many people, or?
I think the people at the very top are rich people, and rich people are insane, and then it just trickles down.
Something about having a lot of money just makes everything more important, I guess.
Yeah, or not having
I
repercussions
feel like
doesn't.
it should make you more chill because you don't give a shit.
Yeah, I feel like I would be like one of the good ones if I was rich.
Whenever I have over $2,000 in my bank account, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm fine for like a month. I'm fine.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing that can hurt me. I basically have infinite money.
I mean, if you have enough, then you have enough.
Then you have
know?
enough, yeah. But I think I don't
Everything
know.
else is just try and get a high score. You know, you're like, oh,
right. Well, that's the thing is like when that becomes your new focus is having more money than guy X. I guess maybe you'll be stressed out, or you adopt like the personality of the rich guy, which I think like just culturally, if you're aware that's happening, that's a character people find themselves playing where it's like this is the guy who's an asshole.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm the guy my job is to care about my money that I have, and
right, and it excuses everything else.
Right, yeah.
Aside from The Rock. The Rock seems like he's having a good time.
Yeah, he seems all right.
Yeah.
But I don't think his focus is the money. I think it's how can I work out? How can I continue to work out? And money is a way to facilitate that.
Have you ever seen The Rock's diet?
No.
Oh, I really recommend like Googling The Rock's diet.
The Rock's diet?
He eats like nothing but cod. So he's just eating he's like eating like 30 pounds of cod a day or something. It's like working at SeaWorld.
Wouldn't that fuck you up with mercury and shit?
I don't think that cod is one of the ones that accumulate mercury because it depends on the chain of what's eating what. Who's the swimmer who won a whole bunch of Olympic medals and is a bit of a douche?
Fuck, I can't remember his name.
Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Michael Phelps has like in his like how much he eats in a day. It's just like lunch, 3 pizzas.
Ugh. That just sounds gross.
Yeah, but if you're swimming all day, I guess that's what you gotta do.
I guess you need a lot of carbs.
Yeah, just any calories. That's just like the densest source of calories, I guess.
How much do you have to swim to where eating 3 pizzas won't destroy your body? Is he swimming for like fucking 14 hours a day?
I think he's swimming for a lot of the day. That's his practice.
And at that point, it's like food isn't even something you enjoy. It's just like the thing that you have to like pass through your throat.
Yeah, well, especially with athletes, it's kind of a stretch to call The Rock an athlete at this point, but athletes are like not only eating for like the nutritional profile, but they're eating like a very regulated diet because they need to make sure they get it right.
Right.
So it's like it's the same thing all the time, you know?
Yeah, I hate that. That would drive me crazy. I mean, I don't know. I eat like oatmeal maybe like 4 times a week, and by the 4th time, I'm always like, fucking, I hate this.
What about, have you tried a little bit of cinnamon?
Oh, I do all kinds of shit with it. I get apples up in there. I do frozen blueberries, walnuts, almonds, cinnamon, different kinds of sugar, sometimes cane sugar, sometimes coconut sugar. I mean...
I didn't even know coconut sugar existed.
It's right to the right of you. It's behind the apples. Yeah, it's brown.
Wait, is it this guy right here?
Yeah.
This is just brown sugar, but they stuck in a different container.
Maybe they just stuck in a container that says coconut sugar.
Yeah, it's just like the water in other countries. They just stick it in the bottle.
Yeah.
Tell you it's from the manufacturer, but we all know it's a lie.
I also was told in China like to watch out and like make sure the thing isn't broken or whatever on the bottles because people will refill bottles and sell it, but it's like they're selling it for like 10 cents. I don't know. I mean, like if there's a profit to be made there.
Yeah.
Such a weird.
You're not going to get into the water racket.
It feels like a scam that's too much work. It feels like a shitty scam.
Very few of the scams in actual life are like big movie scams. You know, they're more about like getting enough money to make it through the day.
Okay, now you're making me sad again.
Yeah, you should have bought and drank those waters with the unscrewed tops.
No, that's the thing. I couldn't find any water with unscrewed tops.
Maybe they're melting.
Not that I was looking for it, but once you're making all that fake water money, you can buy your own fucking bottler.
Yeah. Do you think?
And then you're just a water company.
Yeah, that's how Dasani started. Is they were just doing it on the street.
Just a couple guys with a dream. When I was in Jaipur, I was walking down the road at night, and there were these two guys outside, and they were like, "Oh, hey man, where are you from?" And this has been happening to me a lot, so now I just started lying. So I was like, "I'm from Canada," and they're like, "What's your name?" I said, "My name's Roger." They said, "What are you doing here?" Because if I say I'm a tourist, they're gonna want to like take me around. And I said, "I'm here for work. What's your job?" And I said, "Infrastructure."
Mm.
Yeah, infrastructure. So I'm just walking around, taking a look at the streets. So I was trying to like destroy all the possible leads that they could maybe keep talking to me with.
Yeah. Also, nobody knows anything about infrastructure. So
No, neither do I. So if they had one more question about infrastructure, I would have been totally found out. I think maybe I would have said something about making bricks. We have a machine that makes bricks. I'm here to sell it to India. But anyway, they really didn't want to let me go, and they were like trying to pull me with them. They're like, "Come on, you got to come to our friend's tea shop, drink tea with us. It's a great honor in this country to be invited out for tea by locals." And I said, "You guys are just standing out on the street, picking up Western tourists, males, the two of you on a weekday night. I don't know. Seems a little fishy. But there is like, that's a scam in India where, and in China and other places where it's like they take you to the tea house, they they fill you with tea, and then it's like surprise. This tea costs $400.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the menu it'll say something like the tea is, it's very cheap. It's $1 or $2 maybe, but it's actually like $1 or $2 per gram.
Mhm.
But that's written in a different language. You can't tell.
And then your choice is repair to fight them.
Yeah, I mean, you give them your credit card or you get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
You're already in a strange place, and so they get money, and that's the kind of scam that I don't. I can more understand the like, I'm going to try to get you to ride in my taxi, and then I will charge you 2 or 3 times as much as it should
Mhm.
cost. Like, I don't. It's not that I respect that scam, but I totally get it, and I think it's fine.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you're probably getting the people that can afford it. Like if you're coming from America, you're in India, you can probably afford a $5 taxi ride as opposed to a dollar taxi
Yeah,
ride.
yeah. Well, they're targeting the people who probably aren't going to be back in that cab, so it's going to be outsiders.
But when I was in a different scam situation, I was in I was in Chennai, and I was walking on the beach or walking near the beach. I wanted to walk to the beach. And this guy in a cab pulled up by me. He said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "The beach." Like I just pointed to the place that was directly near. And he was like, "I will take you anywhere you want to go after the beach. Anywhere you want to go, the mall, anywhere. You can be in my cab all day long. I will be your cab." And I said, "No," because I wasn't.
That seems like the right one to say.
Well, I mean, these are like tuk-tuks. They're basically like motorbikes with a carriage on back, and I don't like riding in them, and there's no meter or anything. So when I was in India, I only used Uber because you pay ahead of time. Like you know how much it's going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be.
yeah.
You can see when they're coming. You know they're going to drop you off at that spot that it says it's going to drop you off. They're not going to like jerk you around and take you to their friend's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fucking rug store or
It also
whatever.
helps with maybe not in this particular instance, but language barriers. I use
Oh yeah, for
Uber
sure.
when I'm overseas, and so not having to convey where I'm going is very useful.
Yeah, you get in, you look how you look. They probably don't say anything to you. They take you there. It's fine. It worked well for me. But this guy, so I started walking on the beach away from him, and I walked down the beach probably for like 20 minutes. I started walking back up, and he was like following me. I didn't realize he'd been following me, and I saw him, and he saw me see him, and I turned back to the water, and then he got out of his cab, and he was like coming into the sand like after me, and he was still saying like, "Hey, you can still ride with me and all this stuff," and I was like, "Help!" Like kind of jokingly, I was saying help, and then he walked away.
Okay. That guy was good. Like, if you had swam
Fucking-
into the ocean, that guy was going to swim.
I think so. He was fucking chasing me. I was being chased by this dude. I get in retrospect now that I'm telling that story, I feel like I should have just took his cash.
No, I don't think that's the right one.
Or I should just gave him some rupees here. Do not
That
chase.
would have also
do not-
saved the problem.
Do not chase me onto the beach.
The one time I got scammed, I thought it was. I thought the people who scammed me did a fair job. I was unsurprisingly extremely drunk in New Orleans, and I started talking to these people, two women, and they seemed very nice. And so me and my friends were going to go back to the place that we had rented and drink more and smoke some weed. And so we invited them to come hang with us. And they were like, "Oh, let's stop at this liquor store we know." And I'm like, "Oh, we're having a great time. Like, these are like two people who know where the liquor store is. They're pretty cool." But one thing that either they had mentioned, but I had not caught on to, or they had not mentioned, and I was maybe supposed to figure it out on my own, was that they were sex workers. And so
I feel like they should mention that. You shouldn't have to figure that out on your own.
yeah, but like maybe that's not like a safe thing to bring up, or like there's a lot of like
Okay.
sting operation. I don't know what the situation is. That's not really the scam. The scam is that the liquor store that they brought us to, they knew the guy behind the counter, and
So it's like the same thing as the tea shop scam.
yeah, well, they didn't overcharge me. The guy like ran it through another thing so that he had access to my credit card, like the swipe
Oh, like
information.
he took your info.
Yeah. He I guess made a copy of it. I'm not really sure how that technology works, but so he got that, but then I got the last laugh because they came back to our place and then nobody wanted to pay them for their work or enjoy their work at all, and so they wasted whatever 3 hours of their time with a bunch of drunk idiots.
Were they pissed?
I wouldn't say they were pissed, but they weren't happy about it.
Right.
Hopefully they got a cut out of the liquor store guy.
I hope they got some of the money that guy took from you.
Yeah, I mean they got some like free alcohol. That's not what you want when you're working.
No, yeah. That's just a bonus.
I had a great time, and then my credit card company just covered it for me. So
I kind of sounds like one of those situations where everybody wins.
yeah, well, except for the women who thought they were working, and then ended up just hanging out with a bunch of drunk bozos.
Everybody wins except for those women.
Yeah,
No, now I'm sad again.
yeah. Well, at least the guy at the liquor store got his scam successful. Or like the credit card company looked into it and then he got caught and thrown in jail.
Was this the most recent time you went to New Orleans?
No, this was like 4 times ago.
Damn, you've been to New Orleans so much. I want to go back. It's cool as shit.
Yeah. Every time I go, I've been like expanding which areas. And now when I go, I just want to go to like neighborhoods that are normal people neighborhoods.
Right.
And so like this time I went and my friends came in for 3 of the 7 days I was there. And for those 3 days, we just went to all the places I don't want to go to. And then I had 4 days where I was like, oh, I'm going to go to like this nice cafe and I'm going to go to this like normal bar full of normal people.
What's the area in New Orleans you like?
I like Garden District a lot.
What's up with that?
It's just like nice restaurants, cafes. There's like, I think 3 bars, but they're pretty quiet.
I feel like I would also appreciate the more quiet. Like, I don't want to fuck around the French Quarter or the touristy,
yeah. I mean, it's okay for
loud
to, like,
areas.
look at the people every once in a while, but
Yeah, I mean, just like any city in the world, it has like an area that's for travelers to come
Yeah.
through and blow their money and be loud and stupid.
and if you're stuck there, you want to get the most of it. Like if I'm stuck in Hollywood, I don't want to be like, oh, Hollywood, I hate Hollywood. I want to be like, oh, I know a good place to sit and look at these like Midwestern families yelling at each other.
Right. Sit on the second floor of Hooters. Look down into the degradation.
They do have a second floor there. I've never been to that second floor actually.
I went to it was like an open mic there.
Yeah, I know they do that there.
It was fucking wild. Because the way it works is on the first floor they have the restaurant, the second floor they have like the open mic. And downstairs people are waiting to sit in the restaurant. But if you sit upstairs, you can sit right away. So the audience for the open mic is just people that wanted couldn't fucking wait to eat their wings.
Perfect.
Couldn't
Captive
even wait.
audience.
And they said, I will trade good service, and I will listen to open mic stand-up comedy, but that's how badly I want my wings. So like, probably not a good audience. Not a lot of locals. They're a little antagonistic to the things they saw.
I had a really great experience at that Hooters once. I was like in the neighborhood too early for something. And so I was like, all right, Hooters has beer and TVs with sports on it. So that's like a place to kill.
Mm.
I was probably like a half hour early or something. And so I sat down at the bar there and just watched basketball. And this guy came in and he sat down the seat next to me and he called his buddy back home to brag that he was at a real Hooters. And then he bought a T-shirt because he was so excited to be at Hooters. It was like the sweetest thing I'd ever
That's
seen.
heartwarming.
He had always dreamed of being at a Hooters, and then one day he was.
Oh man, you know I'm pretty world weary and cynical at this point. I've kind of seen it all, but something like that it just brings a tear to my eye.
I mean, I think that means that if you're considering franchising something, you should consider a Hooters because it seems like there's pent up demand for more Hooters restaurants.
Yeah, I guess so. There's those folks that only heard about Hooters on TV.
Yeah.
Wonder if I could get away with a drive-through Hooters, you know.
I mean, I would go to the drive-through Hooters because LA doesn't have good wings in general, and so Hooters is pretty good for Los Angeles.
Yeah, but you don't want to like.
I don't want to be in a Hooters.
You don't want to have an evening at Hooters.
So it can be a little depressing.
To me, wings are a good party food, but they're an even better like depression meal. Like, there's something I kind of want to eat alone, especially if I'm getting like the Buffalo Wild Wings has, what is it called, like blazing hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like actually pretty legitimately hot for like a chain. And the thing I would always do when I lived in the Midwest is I would go to Buffalo Wild Wings, I would get that, and I would just like eat it in my room, hunched over, almost sobbing. You know, this is something I would be eating at like midnight by myself. And that's a good memory.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think places should cater to that demand. People that want to punish themselves. I mean, that's why I eat spicy food. That's why I love the food in India. I could go to a place, no one would talk to me. I'm a weird tourist. I sit down, I eat some extremely spicy food, and I punish myself.
Oh yeah, once you start
for my sins.
Once you start struggling with spice, no one's gonna bother you then. Yeah, no one's gonna be like, "Hey, excuse me, do you have a moment to talk?" And you're just like,
I look at them like wet faced, wet eyed.
Yeah.
No one's gonna fuck with you.
I actually had I forget what I was eating. I was eating something very spicy. Oh, it was something that had jalapenos in it. And I was at work. This was my previous workplace, so it's like a cubicle type of place. And so I'm eating it and I'm like breathing heavy and like crying. And my manager calls me in and I come in and he sees me like sweaty, breathing heavy and crying. And he's like, "Are you okay?" Like all of a sudden, like real concerned. And I had to tell him, "No, I was eating jalapenos." And I just had to continue as if that hadn't happened.
Dude, you fucked up. That was a golden opportunity to say, "No, I'm not okay."
They don't want to hear that.
And there's something you can do about it, boss. You can make my job easier.
No, they could not have made my job any easier. That was the best thing about working at like a cubicle office is there's probably like 6 hours worth of work to do each week.
Oh, I need to get me one of those.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was awful in a lot of ways, but that part was pretty. There was plenty of time to read ESPN at work.
Imbibe things that make you cry just a little bit.
Yeah. But we had the like boss of the whole place. It was a law firm, so he was the lawyer. The lawyer had an aversion to strong food smells. So if you like heated something up in the microwave, he would get angry. And
so you just had to eat like salads and deli sandwiches and shit.
Yeah, and
crackers.
I was there for, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 years. And he was not in the office one day all that time. And the one day he wasn't there, everyone ordered pizza because you couldn't have pizza otherwise.
Damn. This guy sounds like a drag.
Yeah, he's dead now, so everything turned out well for me.
What did he used to eat?
He had, I think it was brown rice, chicken, and broccoli every day.
Oh my God.
I mean,
no wonder he's dead.
If you hate the smell of food, that's like That's a legit option, that like really gets
That's
rid of most of the
that
smell.
guy was never even like alive.
I would
That's
say he was
no
more
way to live.
undead than anything.
Right. Fucking zombified corpse walking around eating like broccoli,
Yeah.
chicken.
It's also Los Angeles, so he had Lakers season tickets that he just never used.
Ugh.
So it's just like empty seats at the Staples Center to see like Kobe Bryant all the time, and he's just like, no, I'm not going. Well, he's dead now, so good guys win.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Oh, one more scam thing. It happened again where like I was like in a really touristy area that had a bunch of like shops that like kind of cater to tourists. Like they sell like traditional garments and shit. Stuff like
Okay.
most people in India I don't think ever buy, or if they have to buy, they buy it once.
It's the thing you buy to prove that you went there.
Yeah. So it was like that, jewelry stores, knickknacks, a bakery, whatever. I was in a touristy area, and this guy came up to me, and he had like a big watch, and he had rings on his fingers, and he was like dressed very well, and he spoke perfect English. He introduced himself, asked me where I was from, did the whole thing, and I was like, oh, fucking guy is going to scam the shit out of me. Like, of course. Because at this point, I'd like done this dance a million times, and I kind of enjoy it in some ways. I like denying people stuff.
Yeah.
Things they want from me that I know I'm not going to give them, and they don't know it. So he was like asking me my name, and I just made some shit up, Jason or whatever, it doesn't matter. Asked me what I did, all this stuff. He was telling me like, he said he went to Penn State for his PhD. I was like acting like I didn't know what Penn State was. I was like, I don't know. Penn is not a state in the United States, is something I said.
Yeah, good point.
I really said that. I said it out loud to a guy, and he kind of looked at me like I wasn't right. And he said, "Welcome to India," and he shook my hand and walked off. And after that, I was like, fuck, I don't think he was trying to scam me. I think he was trying to talk about his alma mater.
Mm. That's the
he
biggest
saw
scam of all, is trying to make a friend.
He was trying to have an emotional connection, and I just acted like a complete dipshit. And he was like, Americans, they ain't so smart, I guess.
Well, at least he came away from it with the right impression.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I only lied to him in a certain way, but I still delivered the thing he would have got if he talked to me further.
I think, I don't know the culture of India, but I think it's probably the same everywhere. No one just comes up to you and is nice to you.
No, of course not. If anyone comes up to you in another country, someone comes up to you and they speak English and they want to know about you, fucking run. There's no reason for them to do that.
Same thing here. Like, if someone just comes up to me and wants to know about me, something not right is happening.
Yeah. You have to say, like, what's going on with you?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
Like, sometimes you do make a friend with a complete stranger, but usually you have some sort of shared experience.
You guys both see a car crash. You turn to
Yeah.
each other and you say, how about that car crash?
Yeah, there's something that brings you together as human beings, and it's not one person picked you at random.
Right. They just magically liked your outfit or something.
Yeah, that doesn't.
It's
happen.
certainly not because they looked at you and they said, an American.
Yeah, sucker. Yeah, no, definitely people look at me and say that's a sucker.
Yeah.
But nobody's like, oh, I'm gonna like strike up a conversation with this gentleman on the street.
Yeah. Well, I was asking about the Uber thing and mentioning that, I've taken Ubers in India and it's always been a pretty okay experience. I guess that I have two things to add to that. The first thing is that although the experience of like paying and the relative niceness compared to taking the tuk-tuks was like good, and I like that, it's also true that being in a car in India is kind of terrifying, at least in the cities, at least in every city I was in. And it wasn't like because they were bad drivers, it's just because the whole nature of the road is different.
Yeah, the laws are more suggestions, right?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it works.
Yeah. Well, if you have to get somewhere,
The second thing is like they don't have seatbelts.
Yeah, seems like that's a good one. I like seatbelts.
The driver has a seatbelt.
Mm.
In the back seat, they don't have seatbelts. They take them out. The cars come with seatbelts, and they remove the seatbelts so that there are no seatbelts.
Is that for fuel efficiency?
I don't fucking know what it's for. I was so confused. The first time I got in an Uber and it didn't have seatbelts in India, I thought, oh, this guy's car is shitty. And the second time it happened, I thought, oh, this is an Uber thing. And then I saw he had a seatbelt and I said, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
You know, I tried to read about this, so I Googled India Uber seatbelt. And apparently, like, just cabs don't have them, Ubers don't have them. If you're transporting people, you remove the seatbelts from your car.
Maybe it's for quickness, so you can just like get right out of the car.
That's crazy to me. That saves like 4 seconds, maybe. Just tell the person to unbuckle their seatbelt as you pull up to the thing. What the fuck is going on? Anyway, so I Googled that, and I found this article. The article's title is Over 20 Uber Drivers Beat Bangalore Man Over Seatbelts. And it says that...
Not with the seatbelts, though.
Over.
Yeah, if they had seatbelts, they could have.
If they had the seatbelts with them, that would really add insult to injury.
Yeah.
They weren't using them, but they just had them on hand. But what happened was, I guess this took place around 9 p.m. He was trying to return home from the airport, this guy Dave. He was complaining that none of the Ubers had seatbelts. And he said, as I'm particular about rear seatbelts, I asked the driver to stop the car and let me pull out the seatbelts, which were inside the seat. When he didn't stop the car, even after asking him twice, I tapped him on his shoulders and asked him to stop the car immediately. As per Dave's version of the incident, when he got out of the car to pull out the seatbelt, the driver came out. The driver allegedly claimed he was attacked by Dave and gathered other drivers who were passing by. Quote, what followed next was utter mayhem. For more than 45 minutes, over 25 drivers surrounded us and attacked us. I was injured, and so was one of my colleagues, said Dave. He said Uber's SOS system didn't help while the attack was going. I didn't know they had an SOS system, but apparently Uber didn't come through.
Yeah, because all the Uber drivers were busy beating him.
I guess so. And the other Uber drivers were too busy taking the seatbelts out of their cars. So that anecdote doesn't have like an end to it. I still don't really understand why they don't have seatbelts. But apparently, if you question the lack of seatbelts, you might get your ass kicked. So anyone that goes to India, if you go to India, I'm just saying, live with it. You know,
I'm not sure
part of
Dave
the experience.
is a reliable narrator here. Like when someone says I tapped him on the shoulder and asked him to pull over immediately, I don't think that captures the tone of what happened.
You think Dave was freaking out?
I think maybe he was like a bossy jerk, and then some stuff went down outside of the cab.
Look, I still think maybe the guy shouldn't have got beaten.
Well, I'm not a big fan of violence, but how do I know he didn't instigate it? That's what the cab driver says.
You're making some good points.
I need to hear
from
But
the original
Dave's
sin
colleague.
is that we don't have fucking seatbelts in the Ubers.
Yeah.
And Dave was trying to make a stand against that.
Seatbelts would have only made this situation worse.
I don't think the situation would have happened if we
You don't think Dave would have found something else to get bossy about?
Now we're attacking Dave's character, and I'm not comfortable with it.
I'm not attacking. I'm questioning. I'm asking.
Your name is Dave. Why don't you have some kind of like...
I know what Daves are like.
Allegiance. Oh, because apparently they're very judgmental.
Yeah. And this is why instead of worrying about seatbelts, I worry about keeping quiet during the cab ride, just in case. Actually, I have had very many good conversations with Lyft and Uber drivers, as well as a whole bunch of really weird conversations.
I think I've probably had like 3 or 4 good conversations with Uber drivers in my life.
Okay, that's a lot.
And maybe like 20 or 30 bad ones. So, I mean, I'm comfortable with that ratio. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a good one, 4 times exactly. And sometimes you get a bad one every other time.
Yeah, that's what they say about life, is that everyone has 4 good Uber rides in them.
Right, yeah. So I should stop taking Uber at this point.
Sometimes they're all front-loaded. Sometimes they're all at the end. Sometimes they're interspersed through life. And that's the journey we go through.
I was in an Uber in India, and there's this guy, he was like really jazzed, to have like a traveler, I guess, in his Uber. And so while he was riding, he kept like looking in the mirror back at me, and I'd be like, hey. And he pulled out his phone, and he started like while driving, trying to take a selfie with him and me in it. And again, the roads are already scary as shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, haha, can you watch the fucking road? But I don't know. I don't know how many people go through India these days, especially like some of the cities, like whatever Hyderabad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm sure that there's a tourist economy, but I don't know if it's like mostly internal or what.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if people still do that thing where they go to India to find themselves. Or
I feel like everyone I know who's Australian goes to India to find themselves.
yeah,
like,
Australians
right
love
there.
India and Southeast Asia.
Yeah. I mean, it's there, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. Nothing against those places.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was in India during the rainy season.
Oh,
but
yeah. It was monsoon season?
It was monsoon season.
Wow.
yeah.
That's like one of the only things I know about India is they have monsoon season.
But that's the thing is like monsoon season just means the rainy season.
Well, sometimes the rain is so bad that, like, places get washed away.
Yeah, I mean, it can really fuck up some shit, but it's still just a rainy season.
I mean, yeah, it's rain.
It's rain,
But it's a lot of rain sometimes.
And it affected my experience, certainly. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, like, I'm sure you've seen, like, pictures or video of, like, Mumbai in the rainy season where it's, like, the fucking street is underwater.
Yeah.
And I was really, before I got to India, I was like, should I buy big rubber boots? Should I, the fishing thing?
The fishing boots?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they go up over your waist.
Yeah, I don't know those. But I can imagine them. That's like bog worker boots.
I was wondering if I should get like a bog worker outfit for monsoon season, but I didn't end up having to like trudge through any like water. But apparently, like when it does flood in Mumbai, like the water is like super bad because like it's the sewers and just everything that's on the street and the ocean water in Mumbai is like very dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Same in Chennai on the East Coast. I got to the beach and I was kind of surprised no one was swimming there. But apparently it's not a swimming beach. It's just a hanging out at beach. I wish I would have seen more stuff in Mumbai. Mumbai is a really big city.
Was that the place that you would go back to out of the places that you visited there?
I don't know if I would go back to any of the places.
Okay.
But here's the thing. It's because there are so many places in India that I think I would go to other places instead. I mean, also, I would have to be ready for it. India is tough. Like, the getting around from city to city was a little bit tough. I always had to take flights. It wasn't like in China where I just hopped on a bullet train. It was a whole ordeal to get from city to city. Getting around within a city was tough. I could either take the local trains, which were honestly a shit show, or I could take Ubers, but then you deal with the bad driving. You can walk, but just getting over to the next block is an adventure. It's tough. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, they need more infrastructure experts like you.
Right. They need Roger, the Canadian infrastructure. I am selling bricks.
Yeah.
Now that I've traveled, I don't have the ability anymore to travel, like financially. And so I'm not like in the market for traveling to places for experiences. I think probably the next time I travel somewhere, it'll be partly an experience, but it'll also be a thing of like, I want to have a good time. And India is just not a place I would go for vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, I did go during monsoon season, so I didn't go to like Goa, which is like supposed to be the chill beach hangout spot that's good for summer. And I also didn't get out in the countryside, which is supposed to be very beautiful. And I wish I could have gone to the countryside. So there are things I missed that I wish I could have done. And if I go to India again, I'll definitely do them. But in the near future, I don't think I'll go to India because it's just, you got to be putting in more work to just to travel there than any of the other places I went.
Yeah, you didn't go anywhere there and you were like, oh, I could see myself living like this?
No. But in many other countries, I felt that way. There's a lot of countries I went to and I thought, oh, I could settle down here for at least a year or two and I would be fine.
Yeah.
That was one of the main things like that I discovered is I felt like I could be okay in many different environments, but not India.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what I always look for when I travel. I'm trying to find a place where if my life had gone a different direction and I ended up there, would I have like found a way to be happy there? And those are the places that I always go back to again and again, is a place where I feel like, oh, my life would fit in here.
Yeah, it's comforting, right?
Yeah.
Something about, I don't know, not just the place, but also like the alternate history where you end up in that place,
Yeah.
and you imagine your life there.
Yeah. Well, there's also like, there's nice places, but they're not for me, like
Sure.
wherever it was, I stopped in Utah on the way out here. It was like very
A
pleasant.
places you can admire as a pleasant
Yeah.
road stop.
Like a lot of people would be very happy. Most people would be very happy there, but it's not exactly the type of thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
No critiques of it, just not for me.
That's how I feel about like a lot of American cities, I think. So I can see why people live there, or I think if I had to live there I'd be okay, but they're not maybe this will sound bad, they're not quote unquote interesting enough. I mean, Los Angeles, I think, is a place that is interesting, positive or negative. It's different than a lot of other cities. It's interesting. And living in another country, a different city in another country, that would also be interesting because of the foreign element. But living in Kansas City, Missouri, it would not be interesting. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing this. It's just something. I'm reading it off of Wikipedia right now. It's true.
Yeah, but it's like different personality types. Like I used to live in Baltimore, and there were a lot of things I liked about Baltimore. And there's a lot of problems that Baltimore has, which were not the reasons why I don't want to live there. But I knew people who stayed in Baltimore. I went to college there, so after we left college, and I would describe their personality type as someone who wants to know everything about the place that they live. And like a medium-sized American city is a place where you can know everything. Like when a new restaurant opens.
Right.
I mean,
I don't want to know that. I think
Yeah,
I think
no.
I'm the opposite.
That's why Los Angeles is great, is you can never know it.
Right. It's inherently unknowable.
Yeah, it's enormous. It's just you think you know a little bit about a part of town, and then another part of town is completely changed in the time it took you to learn about the first one.
I love that though. I love a city that's in the process of change. And maybe this is like really basic of me, but it's also I think why I'm more attracted to those like big metropolises. Like I think a lot of what I found interesting about the cities in China is that they seem to be expanding as I was walking through them, or they were changing as I was walking through them, and you know, that's a quality that I think you only get like in like mega cities almost.
Yeah.
Is their ability to like reassemble themselves and be interesting from one month to the next, be different from one month to the next.
Yeah, and to be uh, so big that there's always like a new thing to go check out. Because otherwise, um, it's like you could visit 3 medium-sized city, where you can visit 1 metropolis, and you would have a similar amount of stuff to do.
Yeah.
And so if you're at one gigantic city, then not only do you have that like critical mass of stuff, but you also have a higher churn, just because of the functioning of the economy, and there being more interest, more money, more everything.
Yeah, I think I should say then that like I could live in a lot of different cities, but I don't think I could live in not a city. Or I think if I had to live like in a very small town or a rural environment, that's just not the kind of shit I like.
Yeah, I mean, it gets worse for me the smaller the places. If it's like a beautiful cabin on a lake and there's no town, that would be like the worst for me. That would be where I would go insane.
Yeah. I could spend maybe like 3 days in a place like that and really enjoy it, and then on day 4 want to hang myself.
Yeah. Some people, that's perfect. You know?
Right.
Including the hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's why they went there. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
The idea that like you're going to know everybody in town, awful.
Yeah,
Awful.
when I was a kid, I lived in
Sounds like a
lot
nightmare.
of small places, and it was weird that everyone knew each other, but also there's a lot of factionalism in a place like that.
Because
so-
everybody gives a shit. I mean, once you know everybody, you kind of have an opinion about everybody.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like there's a million assholes, but
Yeah.
you run into one of them and you forget about them the
Yeah.
next second because
Yeah, it's not worth it for me to warn you about certain people that you've never met before because you'll never
Right.
meet them statistically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there are people. I mean, I've run into friends out here sometimes, but rarely.
Yeah.
And there are people I recognize that work at like coffee shops or whatever, but only if I seek them out.
I live in like a hipster neighborhood now, and I don't know a lot of people who live there, but I know a few, and it's always still like shocking to me when someone says hi to me on the street.
Right.
And I'm just like, whoa, holy shit, I forgot that like you can just see someone that you know.
Right. I'm like in the 50s sitcom version of a small town all of a sudden,
Yeah.
except at Highland Park.
Yeah, like I'm used to living in different parts of the city that aren't like destinations for people to move to.
Mm.
So that would never occur. Like nobody was going to move to, even when I lived in Pasadena, like nobody I know wants to live in Pasadena. I like it, it's a cute place, but nobody was moving there. And so I could just walk around all the time and I would never see anyone that I know.
That's kind of nice.
I
It's
stumbled
kind of
upon-
freeing for that, to happen.
Yeah, well, I could just stick my headphones in and not pay attention to anything,
Yeah.
aside from trying not to get hit by cars.
That sounds exactly like my experience in India.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you did not get hit by a car.
Me too. Thanks, man. Yeah, nothing bad happened to me in India. I didn't even get scammed or I even like I didn't get food poisoning, which like a lot of what I was reading and what people were telling me is that I would get food poisoning. They were like deterministically saying like if you're even in India for like a week, you will get food poisoning, so just accept it. And I was there for 3 weeks and didn't get food poisoning.
Have you ever had food poisoning in your life?
Yeah, I got food poisoning from like Taco Bell.
Interesting. I've never had food poisoning, so like I don't know if there's like
really
different levels
sucks.
of susceptibility to it.
I mean,
or
there's
what
a
the deal
difference
is.
between like eating a kind of gross meal and like food poisoning, which will
Yeah,
have you like
yeah.
writhing on the floor. Like in India, to be gross, after like every big meal, I would shit. But it wouldn't be like
That's supposed to happen. I hope you know that that's supposed to happen, that human beings are supposed to shit.
eventually, but I mean like within an hour or two, like
Okay.
really quick. And it's not because the food was like dirty or it's just like it's a lot of oil and stuff I'm not used to eating. And I was kind of like doing it to myself.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew what was going to happen, but I never had that like this is fucking up my day type of experience with food. I don't even know if the food I was eating, I'm not going to say like yeah, the food in India is clean because I didn't get sick. Maybe it was all dirty, but I didn't get sick.
Maybe you're better at picking what to eat than the average person.
I agree with that because it flatters me. I accept that as
Well,
a
it doesn't
truth.
necessarily have to be better tasting, though I think probably that is also the case, but just that you perhaps put more research into it than the average person who's a visitor.
Maybe so, yeah. But I mean, I'm still eating stuff that's just like ghee, it's just like butter.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's oil and fried bread and stewed vegetables and stuff where if you're eating it every day, it adds up to making you feel like you're not eating well.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with deli belly or whatever.
This will be my example of why I think there's two types of people: those that get food poisoning while traveling and those who don't. So I was in Vienna. Did you go to Vienna?
I did, yeah.
I like the architecture there. I was not so much into anything else really, but
It's a little more bland than I think I was expecting.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The architecture is very cool, but also like all the shit that's in Vienna is like H&M and McDonald's
Yeah.
situated within that beautiful architecture.
So I was there with my friends. We were on hallucinogens and just wandering the streets of Vienna.
Well, that's one way to make it more interesting.
And so we'd previously eaten a meal and I had picked the place. And so I picked a place that was famous for its schnitzel.
Mm.
It was good. Nobody got sick.
Okay. I think I probably had the same schnitzel place.
Yeah, it's like you're supposed
It's
to go
the
there.
place, yeah.
So then we're on hallucinogens and some of us are hungry. And so we let my buddy Vince pick the next place. Vince is like famous for not. He has strong opinions on like music, but in general, he doesn't really care what happens to him.
Mm.
And so we forced him to pick because he never like we had already been to Amsterdam.
It was like a
and,
funny
like,
thing for you to make him.
Yeah,
pick.
and we'd like been on this trip for a very long time, and he had not made a single decision the entire time. So it's time for him to carry his weight. And so he picks the place to eat, and it's Pizza House, which is a ripoff of Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
So it's not even Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
It's
not,
a worse
it's,
Pizza Hut.
It's not the level of Pizza Hut,
It's trying
which
to,
already wouldn't be good.
No, already not good. It's trying to fool people from Asia who use a different style of writing
Yeah.
and make them think that it's Pizza Hut. That's like their economic model.
That's their market.
And so not food poisoning, but that did not sit well with people. And that's like when you just like randomly pick a place on the street to eat versus you go to the place that you researched.
Right. Yeah, I think researching goes a long way. I mean, any of the shit that appears in the top 50 of TripAdvisor probably isn't going to make people barf up their lunch.
I mean, for the most part, that's how I eat in my general life as well. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go someplace to eat. Maybe I should look at my options.
Yeah.
And then make an
I mean,
educated
I look
choice.
at Yelp. I mean, I read Google reviews. I don't care. You know, I don't think I'm being prissy. I care about what I eat.
Sometimes the place has like
a
a bad Yelp rating, but it's a good place. But like, you gotta read the reviews to find out. You know?
But you can find that from the review. If they're complaining about something stupid, where it's like, you know, this was too spicy for me.
That's a lot of places. It'll
star.
be like, if it's not American food, it'll have a worse rating than it deserves, just because people find it
there's
too
a lot
spicy.
of really good Chinese restaurants like out here that have like 3.5 stars if you look them up, but they're all great.
Yeah, but someone goes there and they want to get like General Tso's, and it's like, oh, all of my options are like variations on dumplings, and I'm confused.
Yeah, we have Mapo tofu, but we do not have Kung Pao chicken, and then people are like, I am fucking pissed. Can't believe this happened to me. I am going to Panda Express. That gets 5 stars.
Well, you definitely know what you're getting.
You know what you're
Express, which is food poisoning.
Have you watched any like Bollywood movies?
I have seen some, but I'm not like a Bollywood expert.
Did you watch them like for work or something?
I've watched some for work. For those listening, my work requires that I watch movies and television shows and then kind of break down what's inside of them. But also when I was in high school, me and my friends used to hang out at the independent video store, and I had a back screening room, and so we would just watch like completely random stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
While I was in India, I was always like staying in hotels and stuff. Sometimes fairly nice hotels for a low amount of money. And so I always had like a pretty nice TV in the room, and a couple times I watched like a full, and just like flip around, I would find a Bollywood movie and just start watching it. And I think they're kind of great. I mean, as far as like foreign entertainment goes, they're kind of great just because of how exaggerated they are.
Yeah.
They're like, there's songs and they're very expressive. They're kind of soap opera-y, but it's kind of like, it feels like they're very inclusive movies because they kind of have something for everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, something for everyone. There's there's the song and dance. There's the drama for the ladies, the romance, but there's also like violence in all the movies I saw. I watched 2 full movies, but I also like flipped through and watched a little bit of like maybe 5 or 6 others because at night I didn't have shit to do. There was one movie where it was a love story, but there was also like a part where they were hacking a computer, and there was also a street festival where they were dancing, and there was also a part where a guy was getting beaten to death with a bowling ball. And I had no fucking idea what the movie was about, but I was having a great time watching it. It's called Sonali Cable. It had this great thing, which I know isn't like technically good in movies, but I always appreciate, which is like complete tonal inconsistency. Where one scene will be totally of one genre and the next will be of another genre, basically.
Yeah.
And it was great. And then I looked up the summary of the movie, and it was just like, it was about like a company acquiring another company. But I think it was like made for teenagers. It was like a romance, or
Hmm.
if you read the Wikipedia summary of this movie, Sonali Cable, it sounds boring as shit. But if you watch it, this is also because I was traveling for months and hadn't watched any movies, and I was alone in my hotel room at night.
You'd gone insane by this point.
I had gone insane, but I do think there's a level of entertainment that you can get from it, just like phenomenologically. You can just absorb the energy from the film because things are happening, you don't understand them, and things are happening, you don't understand them, and hey, maybe that's what travel's all about.
There's definitely
try to wrap it up.
There's like Bollywood movies that are just like normal. It's just like a romantic comedy or something. Maybe normal isn't the right word, but there's definitely those like get your money's worth movies.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's got to be super long. It has to have like a whole bunch of different stuff. It has to have bad comedy in it. Someone needs to pick up a gun, because if you like pay the money to be in that theater and you don't get a little bit of everything,
I
you
appreciate
feel like
that.
you got ripped off.
It's like the fucking like it's like the golden corral of movies. Just like
Yeah.
everything is here for you. It's not gonna be that great, but you're gonna get your money's worth.
Yeah. I mean, the music that's in Bollywood is kind of like that too, where it's just like an additional thing to like. You can like the music and not like the movie.
Right.
And so there's at least one thing you enjoyed. And there's kind of like, in American movies, if you're too obsessive about them, there's a little bit of that. Like you can like the cinematography without liking the script and stuff like that.
Well, that's for
But-
like the educated folks.
Yeah.
But they don't have like every movie's a bunch of different shit. Like it's a
Yeah.
variety show,
Yeah.
and maybe you'll like 20% of it.
Yeah. It's even, didn't La La Land win the Oscar? That won the Oscar? I feel like it did. So
Couldn't
that was
tell ya.
considered like the best movie of its year, and it was a musical, and the music was bad. So even in the musicals in America, the music doesn't even need to be good.
Right. Even within the musicals, there was like variation where some of the music sounded like sort of sappy, traditional. Others were like pop music straight up. And there was one song in a movie I was watching where a guy started rapping. And
Yeah.
I was very surprised by it because that
So-
character had not
I
seemed to
watched,
me like a guy that would be rapping.
I watched a Bollywood horror movie recently.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm trying to think if I can remember the name of it. I can't recall the name offhand. Anyway, the serial killer is Santa. It's a guy in a Santa suit.
Okay, I didn't even know they had Santa there.
But they work in the music. It's not the characters don't sing, but there is like very important songs throughout. But then over the end credits, they got all of the major people in the cast. So think of it like I Know What You Did Last Summer or something. There's like 6 main characters, and they're being hunted throughout the movie, and they got all of them to record a rap song together. So over the end credits,
I kind of love that. I kind
It
of
was
love
the
that.
best part of the movie. Was the rap song at the end. I think it's nice to be like, hey, we care so much about your experience. We're even going to shoehorn in some songs because everyone likes songs.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's song and dance. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
And it knows that it's entertainment. And that's kind of what it's all about. And it's not trying to be brainy or anything. And maybe that's why I liked it. Like, I'm sure there's like very good Indian cinema.
Yeah, non-Bollywood stuff has a lot of very good
I'm sure.
filmmaking in it.
I'm sure. I'm not trying to say
Bollywood
it's
might
all
have
like
some good
this.
stuff too, but I haven't been exposed to it.
But I do enjoy the hokiness, maybe. And I definitely wouldn't enjoy it if it were American films. I would be pissed. But
I enjoy a good American blockbuster.
I think the fact that I couldn't understand what they were saying contributed to my enjoyment.
Well, like the movie Face Off, I have no idea what's happening in the entire movie, but I love it. Yeah.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That one's delightful. And if it ended with like a sing along with John Travolta and
It
Nick
would make
Cage,
sense.
it would have elevated the movie to like true high art.
Can you promise me that there's not a scene where Nicolas Cage sings in Face Off?
The thing is, I don't even want to promise you that. I want there to be a scene where he sings
I
in
feel
that
like
movie.
like maybe it's just because we said this. I feel like there's a scene where he sings in it.
We could have like retroactively made it so that there is a scene.
We could splice it in, stick it on YouTube.
No, I mean just like us uttering the idea. Maybe it's been made so
Oh yeah.
within
Perhaps.
the world.
Or maybe there's a scene where he sings in it. Maybe he's singing while he's torturing someone or right before killing someone. It would be very in character.
Yeah, he could rap the intro credits.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Nicolas Cage, and I'm here to say, switching faces with John Travolta every day, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that exactly.
That's a good first pass, I think.
Indian pop music is also kind of feels like it's a mishmash of things. Like I heard a lot of Indian pop when I was in the Ubers and stuff, and I don't really like pop music normally, but again, there's something there to appreciate because like the verses are in an Indian language, and the choruses a lot of the times were just the choruses of like American pop songs.
Hmm.
They would just sing them in English and then go back to the verse where now they're back in the Indian song,
yeah.
which I kind of thought was cool. I mean, at least I would rather listen to the Indian version of American pop songs than American pop songs because they're inherently more interesting.
Well, it's not the same song, right? It's referential of the other song.
Yeah, they're like quoting the other song.
Yeah.
I don't know how that like works legally, but it worked for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like as long as you're just saying, "Hey, we both know that other song, right?" And this
Right.
song is like a celebration of how good we felt listening to that other song. I'm
Yeah,
fine with it.
it's a tribute to the other song.
Yeah.
I guess I should mention like, so I said before there are a lot of places in India I didn't end up getting around to, and I didn't like travel outside the cities, and there is like an actual reason for that, which I avoided saying before, but I think I should come clean. The reason I did not travel outside of cities in India is because while I was in India traveling, uh, there's been a series of basically random mob lynchings.
And you didn't want to be a part of that?
I didn't want to get caught up in that. There have been like fucking an insane, like more than 50 lynchings
Aren't they like
have happened in rural India.
Aren't they religiously motivated though?
No, I mean, a lot of times what it is they are motivated by the fact that there's a stranger coming through town that they don't recognize, and then they will get like on WhatsApp. Someone will get on WhatsApp and they'll start a rumor that's like this guy abducts children, and then they will
Yeah, they're on to you then.
lynch him. Yeah, I don't want them to catch me.
I've seen the Freddy Krueger movies. It's a bad idea to kill the guy who abducts children. That does not go as well as you think
It
it
just
would.
gives them more power.
Yeah.
I kept reading about all this shit. Like I would like type in like anytime I go through a country, I kind of like read the local news a little bit. And in the news, there was always a bunch of shit about lynchings, which is scary. And the fact that they're lynching people that they're lynching them because they're different. You know, they don't recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty fucking different. They would tell that I was different pretty quick. And I met somebody in India, and I said, like, you know, is this like a media thing? Like, is this really going on? Is this a huge problem? And they told me it hasn't happened to foreigners. It probably wouldn't happen to a foreigner. But that wasn't enough.
Yeah,
for
well,
me.
you don't want to be the first for it.
I don't want to make my name by
Especially nowadays,
being the guy that gets lynched.
You won't even make the news now because the whole world is going to shit. Like, no one would even pay attention to it.
No, it wouldn't even be interesting, would it?
15 years ago, they would have, like, spent months on it on the news, and now, not big enough.
No, there's like a new shooting every day.
Yeah.
It does not matter that Derek gets lynched in India.
Well, no.
It probably wouldn't even like be the most interesting thing that happened to me.
I remember I went to Colombia. I have a friend who's down there, so I went to visit him and his family. And this was over 10 years ago, like 12 years ago or something. So there was still a lot of guerrilla activity there. And so...
Okay, I was thinking of Columbia, Missouri.
No, this is the country Colombia. And so
Okay,
they had,
yes, I understand.
They had a rebel army that was also involved in the drug trade.
Mm-hmm.
And so I visited my buddy, and we went to this like really cute town. It was really small. They had a community goat. So like someone needs milk from the goat, you just milk it. That's how small it is. And there was only one commercial building there, and it's like a general store and also a restaurant. So it's kind of like an inn or something. And so we went there, and the whole reason we went to this town was because it's up in the mountains, and that one store has a great view.
Mm.
And so we go there and we get like hot chocolate because there's a lot of chocolate there, and we just play cards and enjoy the view. It starts to get a little bit later, and my buddy's like, "All right, well, we should head back." And I'm like, "Oh, like I don't know, I'm having a good time." He's like, "No, you cannot be in the mountains at night because you will be kidnapped." And so we went back into the city.
Yeah, that'll definitely make you go back to the city.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, you're my guide here, so I'm going to trust you on that one."
Damn. I mean, I've also heard that about like northern Mexico too, right?
I definitely think there's some places that are not particularly safe. I don't know. I've only been to like touristy areas in Mexico City.
Right. I think there's, that's the thing with crime is even if you go to a place where crime happens, you're not in a particularly safe city. I don't think that stuff normally targets tourists, or at least there's a certain type of crime that targets tourists, and it involves like scamming them out of money, but it doesn't involve like victimizing them directly with violence or whatever.
Usually, large scale violence in a city is about turf wars, and
right.
I'm neutral.
Yeah, they want to deal with the people that live there and have stakes there.
Yeah,
but
look, if you're thinking of killing me, I'm on your side. I think you guys should win.
I will donate to your Venmo or whatever you want me to do.
Yeah.
That particular thing in India was the only time where I restricted my travel because of like me thinking about safety. And it's not even like anything happened to me or I heard bad things happen to other tourists, but just having to do it once, just having to stay in cities, I mean, it sucked because that's where all the things that I considered to be difficulties with India came from, was like the fact that I was in an urban environment. And the fact that I didn't get to see the countryside really bums me out.
Yeah. And
the reason I didn't see the countryside, because I was afraid of getting lynched, also bums me out.
That's why it's good to like be traveling with someone who's from the place, because they know how to avoid you getting lynched.
Yeah.
And you could feel comfortable trusting them.
Yeah. Well, they better be really fucking sure they can avoid that.
Yeah, of course they're sure. If someone came to Los Angeles and I brought them places, I'm definitely not bringing them any place they're going to get lynched.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, you haven't taken me anywhere that I've gotten lynched.
No, not yet.
Not yet. You have the power.
I could definitely bring you some places where you would not be welcome.
Yeah.
But also I would not be
probably
welcome.
Probably any bar trivia place. I wouldn't be welcome.
Why would you not be welcome at bar trivia?
Majorly the joke answers guy. I do not care about trivia.
So you wouldn't be welcome with the other people at the table?
I would turn the team against me.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I guess I'm done talking about India and shit.
No. For the rest of your life?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say. Yeah. Did you have any questions?
No. I think I learned everything that one could possibly learn about India.
From me, at least.
Yeah. Just anyone. This is it. This is all the accumulated human knowledge. About
if you look in
Nation of India,
the Big Book of India, you will see a transcript of this very conversation,
and you'll be pleased to read it.
That's right. Oh, I should mention that this recording equipment. When I was traveling in India has like more than any other country. Like I was surprised their airport security is more strict. In other places, like they really went through my shit like every single time. And whenever they found this big recording box, it weighs like 10 pounds, and I have 3 microphones, they would always like ask me what I was doing. It was the greatest shame. Like I would rather say that it's actually a bomb and I'm a terrorist, but having to say like I'm recording a podcast.
It's its own form of terrorism.
It's intellectual terrorism. Thanks for recording on my podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me in your professional podcast recording studio.
The living room that I share with my roommate.
Yeah, you could call it that.
I know. I think I might call it what you said. Professional podcast recording. My roommate's going to be surprised when she's like watching TV in my professional podcast recording studio, and I tell her to get the fuck out because I need to get on with the business.
Yeah, you're a professional.
I'm a professional. It's right there in the name. Maybe I can get like a some cute wall art that reflects that.
Oh, yeah. If you know any grandmothers, they love making that.
No, mine are dead.
Oh, well, you could borrow someone else's.
Yeah.
Mine are dead, so I can't loan you one. But
I need to like adopt a young grandmother that will like live well into my life. Maybe younger than me even.
yeah, right? At this stage, you can definitely find a grandmother younger than you.
Yeah.
Maybe not. No, I don't think so.
No, not yet.
Close.
Well, they don't actually have to be a grandmother. It's just a title. If they knit and do all that shit, they're a grandmother.
Oh, like an honorary grandmother?
Yeah, I'll, because it's not like they're really going to be my grandmother, but I'll just kind of like knight them as my grandmother, and then we can have that kind of relationship going forward for the rest of our lives.
If
The rest
we
of
put-
my life, anyway.
If
She'll outlive me.
If we put this on Craigslist, you're going to get a hit, like, immediately.
29-year-old male seeking grandmother,
Must know how to knit.
must know how to knit, under 30 preferred.
Never, ever ask about India.
Never ask about India. All right, Dave. Thanks for talking, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any cool catchphrase you want to say to end this?
Peace. That's it. That was the whole thing.
All right, that was pretty good.
Yeah. It's a classic.
Peace, y'all.